Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the second episode of our car rental agency project. I just created some to-do list in here. The last section is going to be optional because I'm not sure the first three of them uh, how much time they are going to take for this video, so we will decide it later. What I want to do is in this video I want to show you to DBeaver and add some result and data result classes to our project, because as I told you in the first episode, they are very important for our project, for the front-end development, and also for the tracing our code and tracing our errors and mistakes. And the third one is I think the most important, one of the most important thing in the coding environment, using Git version control systems to repose our code, because it is hard to maintain your code without having some repository without in your project. So I would like to explain you first what is DBeaver, and we will continue to add our database in there. Basically, it is a implementation of the database. How do you call this thing? Is an interface, and as you can see, I can add a database in here from a different kind of types of database. There are PostgreSQL, MySQL, Oracle, and Cassandra, Couchbase, and so many different database type. Why do we need these kind of database implementation applications? Because it's hard to maintain if we work with the different databases in different projects. So when I add all my databases in here, I can see all of them and check it out, what do I have in my databases. So there is only the one point that you can check all your data, and it's easy to understand. It is SQL queries, because you know how it works in here, and so it's easy to maintain your code and your different projects from one point. It's a very good application and very useful, so just try to use this application instead of using the specific tools for your project database storage. For example, you have a project uses PostgreSQL in here, so I add my database, and I can also have a MySQL project, and I can also add this database to in here, this tool. It is a very useful way to control your databases from one point. So first I'm going to do this from here, and I can add a PostgreSQL, and you are going to write your host. It could be a remote host, but right now it is in our local host, so we are just going to leave this as a local host. Database name is VIP rent, but the important thing is you should create this database from your specific tool or from your code. So if you don't have it, it's going to be a problem to add this database in here. First you should create your database from PostgreSQL, and when you create it, you can add it to here. It needs your username and password, and when you enter your credentials, you can type finish, and you will have your database if there is a green click. And as you can see, there is a users table that we add in the first episode, and there is only one data, which is I add in Postman, and as you can see, is this data. So this is a very easy way to do it. Try to use it, and also you can basically see the diagram of your project. There will be more tables, and there is going to be some relations. It is easy to see what is behind of your code, and you can save the photo of this and create the image with it, and you can see the properties of this table, and you can see the data types of it. And there are like a constraints, foreign keys, indexes, dependencies, differences, like so many things, triggers, what you need from a database. So basically this is the easiest implementation of DBeaver, and we are going to use this at the rest of the project. So the first to do is done. We can move on to the second part and add a result and data result classes. Before I start to implement these classes, I just want to give some attention. Why do we need these classes? Why do we need these classes? Because without it, as I told you in the first episode, let's imagine, and let's delete this row from here, and you have to save it. When I don't have anything, as you can see, there is only 200 okay and status is okay, but I don't know what is behind. Maybe there is an error, but it returned 200 okay. It could be. So you don't have any idea what happened in your code, and you cannot control everything on your backend. So you should create a result class to uh, how to say, capsulate everything that happens in your code. So while you are doing this, it's going to be important when you just go to other side, front end side. Maybe you use these data from anywhere else and you don't know what's behind on the backend. So you should like 100% think about to add these classes on your code. So let's try to add it, and I'm just going to create a result package, and under this package it's going to be a result and data result class. For if I want to just show information to a user, and if I am not going to respond with data, I'm just going to use the result class. But if I need to give some response with the data, I'm going to use the data result. It's very basic, easy implementation. So let's get into the result. There is going to be status codes and text messages. So I'm just going to create a final integer result code in here. It's going to be a code which I define in my result cases, and a private final string result text. I define this as a private and final because it's important for me to define and do not change these variables after I implement them. So I don't want to access them from the outside. People shouldn't change from the different classes. So let's make it private. And if I just want to have them as a final version of this, I use final modifier. I'm going to have a constructor in here which takes the parameters of our fields, and it's basically like this. So I'm just creating this a constructor with the full parameters, and it's going to be a final result cases. It's going to be success case, and it's going to take 0 and okay. So if I have a success, it's going to turn respond with the result code 0, and sorry about that. Result text is going to be okay. Another case is going to be result and server error. It's another type, and result code is going to be 1, and the message is server error. For right now, these two cases enough for our project, and there is going to be another constructor takes result inside of it, and it's going to just define these variables from this result. While you were creating a new instance with a result, we are going to give it as a result inside, so it will define our code and text field in here. If I just have to need my result code, I want to return to result code in here, and also my result text. This is the getter methods of our result class. So this is the easy part of result declaration, while if we want to respond with a no data. So let's get back into the data result. This data result class is going to be a t-type object. So what does that mean? Actually, if you have more than one entity, so maybe I want to respond with a user, and next time there's going to be a car, maybe registration and other entities, So I don't want to change my code and create a new classes with the data result, user data result, car data result, registration. It's not going to be suitable for the solid principles. So I just give it to a T, and this means it could take any object from the outside, and it's going to extend the result. And when I just implement the constructors, there is a final T data. This is actually means like the same with the user. If I just sorry, this changed as a user, it's going to the same. So I am just creating an instance with the T, and this class T basically represents all the entities in my project. And there is a data result. Constructor gets the T data argument and the result. So result is directly goes to the result class in here, and another constructor gets data, result code, and result text if I just want to define my own result cases with my result code and result text. And my getter is the getting data from this data result class. So this is the basic and easiest implementation of response result classes. So let's use this in our service. First, I go to interface, and while I just return a list user, right now, as you can see, I just give some response with the data. So I'm just going to use data result in here. As you can see in here, there is no mistake, there is no error in here, because list user is also an object and it can be used as a T object. There is no problem. And if I just want to get user by ID, I can use again a data result. Sorry, data result. And if I just save a user, I don't want to return a data, so I just return with the success or error code. I use result, and for update user, again a result. For delete user, again result. So when I go to do my service classes, as there are like overriding errors, I'm just going to change this one. So data result, how do I implement this in the code? I just get my users. If users is empty, I'm just going to return a new data result. Data result gets object data and result class, or object data, result code, result text. I can use the result codes which I created in the result classes, and the result text which I define. So I'm just going to give users, but in here the user is empty, so null, and result dot server error success, and it's up to us, but let's have it. Okay, why do we add in here? I think I can add one thing in here. I also want to show you this one. It's going to be a very good implementation. We can add a static method in here to create a template for our results. Public static result show message. It's going to get a result type and string message text, and it's going to create a new result class with this result type from a parameter, and it's going to return this result. So if I go to user service, I can use this result dot show message, and this is going to be a server error, because actually it's not a server error, but let's have it like now. We can change it in the future. So as you can see, what do we here? If I just talk it again about it, we have a data result object encapsulates our results, and we are giving two parameters inside of it. One of them is data. As you can see in here, I can show you like this. Where is my user service? So this data result use this constructor data and result class. So I just give a result that show message, server error, users not found. This is basically this code. I can use this to create a new result instance, and it returns a result. So I basically have a result in here. I know that it's a little bit complicated to use it at the first time, but when you just try to understand from your code and when you make your own practice, it's very easy to understand. I think you are going to handle it. There will be no problem. So if I have my users, if users are not empty, I can create a new data result, and it's just going to have the users that I have in here, and a new result message shows that result success and users listed successfully. So let's test our application with the controller, but first I need to change these to not get any error in here. Okay, let's do them, and again and after we are going to try it. So I have my user in here. Let's delete this, and if my user is empty, because this optional could be empty, I'm not sure, I have to check this, I can create a new data result, null result.message server error user not found. This is basically this one. I am just using as not lists as a just one object. It's very easy to implement your code, and if I have my user, I can just give it to the user like this: user.get result show message, result success, user find successfully. So while I saving a user, as I told you, I'm going to use a result just only to show the user there is not an error or there is an error. If my user repository save is okay, and I can just show to user there is nothing to worry about, user saved successfully, result.show message saved my life. In here, because I have a result, I didn't have anything like data result and data, so I just show a user there is a success and user saved successfully message. For update user, I can again have a result and result.success user updated successfully. For delete user, I can have a result, and if is exist, this is not a good way to do this. Result user not found. For this one, I'm going to have a try in here to catch this exception and return result that show message user not found or user deletion failed. If everything is okay, I can just tell the user result.success and user deleted successfully. So I'm just going to change the controllers in here with the data result in here, because I return a data result. Also, it's easy to trace your code, while if you have an error, you can just check this error and it says provided type is data result, but you required as a user. So I just changed this as a data result, and the problem is going to be solved. For save user, it's just result, and this one is result. But what is the error in here? Why do I have this error? Okay, this one. I can just start my code again, and we can go to Postman to check our code. When I have get all users, as you remember, it was 200 okay and there was nothing. But right now I'm going to have a result code and result text and data. Result code is 1, result text is server error because there were no data, and the data is null. So you can also change these messages. There is like a no error or something. You can just tell the user there are like some error messages. You can show the user as a result text, message type text. It depends to you. You can just maintain and get better onto result classes. So if I save a user in here again, result code 0 and the result text is okay. So I just saved my user perfectly. And right now, as you can see, result code is 0, result text is okay, data is user ID and username, and everything that I add to my database is in here. So this is basically the easiest way to give a response to a user. You can use these data result and result classes in every entity and every service that you have. It is easy to maintain and easy to understand and easy to trace your code. I think this is the all about that I can say about the result classes. If you have any more questions about it, I will be happy to hear about them. And if you have some kind of enchantment about it, also I want to hear about it, because it's also important for me to maintain my code in better way. Maybe this one is not very suitable for every situation in each case, so like, let me know about it. And this was the second thing that I want to do today. We can send this code to GitHub. I just don't want to use the IntelliJ IDEA to send my code to GitHub, because in some cases, if you work with the server or inside a bash in terminal, you have to use the git commands. So you should get used to it. Using these fields in here, not very suitable for you to learn what is behind of them. So you should use the codes and use the terminal commands. So let's go to the terminal. I just created a GitHub repo in my public as a public, and the repo URL will be shared in the comments. You can use these commands to create your own repository in here. So I'm just going to follow the commands in here. This git init command, basically I also would like to tell you what is behind of these commands. Git init creates an empty git repository inside of this project folder. So as it solves here, I already created a git repository before, so it says reinitialized existing git repository in users, my name, documents, repo, VIP, rent, and .git. So basically it created a git repo for me, and it's going to have the configuration of my GitHub profile. And I'm just going to add all the files inside which has commits in here and changes. As you can see, there are like 16 changes in my files. When I say git add dot means get everything if there is a change. So when I say git add dot, there is no output from it, but it gets inside of the git. So you have to write right now you just get all the changed files on the git, but you should create a commit to save a photo of it. I can just easily and wisely describe this to you. If you not write a commit to this changes, it's not going to be saved. Git commit basically takes a photo of your code with the changes at that time. So you will have a copy of what changed at that moment. You are just giving a name of it, result classes add. So as you can see, when I just enter this code, there is 16 file changed, there is an insertions, and there are some created files. All of them were created, and there is a result, data result, user request. What we do in here is just inside the git right now. I took a photo of it. Right now I can send it to GitHub. So I am in the main, so I don't have to change my branch to main. But if you wanna, let's have it, you wanna just go to another branch. This git branch development means creates a branch with this name. It is not very good way to push your code to main branch, because you have to work with the pull requests. It's if you have a mistake, and for example the git and IntelliJ IDEA didn't know about your mistake, maybe there is a not runtime error and there is a logic error, and it really kills your code and you are going to be in really big trouble. So for not having these problems, you shouldn't push your code to the main branch. You should always create a sub branch, another branch, and you should work with this branch. And when you're done with this branch, and if everything is okay, you done with the tests, there is no problem, you should create a merge request to the main branch. It is very useful and important thing to work with the GitHub. So you have a development branch right now. You can just push your code to here, and you can have your remote origin. This is basically adds the name of your origin. You can change this name whatever you like. For example, I want to have this as a YouTube name. You can just add these remote project URLs, project repositories, and you can send this code, these commits to the different repositories. So this is basically adding to location to send your files. I'm just at my YouTube origin, so I'm ready to push my code to the branch that I want to send. So git push YouTube is my remote name, and development is the branch that I want to send my code. When I push it, as you can see, everything is done. So let's check what do I have in here. As you can see, development is my main branch right now, because I didn't create a main branch in here, and development is the main branch. I have the classes, I have my projects inside here. If I want to let's have it to change a code, let's change something in here. For example, this is get mapping for getting all users, and when I add these changes on my comments, as you can see, one file change and one insertion. Right now, if let's imagine I change something that I shouldn't change, and it's going to be a problem for my code. If I just push it to the development branch, there's going to be an error. So, and nobody is going to be understand what is the problem. So I have to sorry, what happened? I have to create a new branch. Let's say what is the date of it? So I send my code to this branch. If I go to the GitHub, it tells me that there is a new branch and some code is pushed on this branch. I can compare this code with my main branch, as I can show it you from here. As you can see, I can see the changes in here. If there is nothing to worry about, there could be some viewers, and there could be someone who watches your code. If they are okay with your code, they can add some comment in here, and you can create a pull request. When you create a pull request, GitHub is basically checks if there is something wrong with this, if there is a conflict in your code. If there is nothing to worry about, your project manager is going to say that this pull request is valid. So you can, when they comment you are ready to merge. So you can confirm merge, and this pull request successfully merged and closed. So when you go to do your repository again, as you can see, my change is going to be there. Let's go to our repository user controller, and as you can see, this is get mapping for getting all users in here. If I don't accept this pull request, this comment is not going to be here. So you shouldn't push your code to your main branch. This development branch is the default main branch right now. If I made some changes, I should send it to do this branch, and again, as I told you before, I have to create a pull request, and when I create a pull request, I should change if there is an error, if there is something that I shouldn't change, and if everything okay, I can merge it and close this branch. This is the most appropriate way to do it. This was the I think the last thing that I want to do, because I think it was too much for today. I think you get the idea about the result classes and how Git works, and the main idea for the GitHub and using with the Git version control systems. I was really giving attention to the GitHub, and maybe you get confused, but it's very important because this was the first mistakes what I did while I was working with the big projects. When you push something that you didn't push to main branch, it's going to be a really huge problem because coming back from this mistake, it's really pain in the ass. So you should work wisely and always create a new branch if you are not sure something really um affects your code. Just be sure, create a new branch, send your code to this new branch, and if there is nothing to worry about, if someone, your manager or the project owner says, please pull request is okay, you can merge it and close it. But before it, please do not push any code to your main branch. So that was all for the today. If everything is clear for you, and I hope you liked my videos, and please tell me if there is something you would like to see in the next episodes, and let me know if something is confused or something is fast or something is slow. I just want to hear your feedbacks. Thanks for watching. See you in the third episode.